All right. What's going on, everybody? My name is Jake. This is my best friend, Alec. That if you're a longtime viewer, you've probably seen him in
the episodes of us getting drunk.
Yeah, previous videos, Power Hour videos, vlogs, whatever. I thought we could do kind of an origin story, what your childhood was like, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
So where were you born? I mean, I know all this, but I figured we can just get into it and kind of give people a rough background before we get into it.
Edina, Minnesota, the land of privilege, the land of cake.
In streets?
Yeah. Grew up kind of on the outskirts, like right by St. Louis Park. Went to Edina High School with you, middle school, all throughout. That's about that.
Yeah. What? So your parents divorced at an early age? No. When did they get divorced?
The first time or second time?
What? They got divorced twice?
You didn't know that?
I don't
knew
think.
that.
Maybe I may have known that, but
they don't know it.
Yeah.
So my parents were interested in each other in high school. Mom originally got married.
Did they go to high school together?
Yes. My mom was not feeling my dad whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah. Like he was always pursuing her and she just didn't have an interest. But either way, my mom got married to somebody else. He ended up killing himself. And then they reconnected, got married, had my sister, got divorced. And then like 7 years later, got back together, had me. And then 13 years later, got divorced again.
I swear I don't think I knew that. Or
Really?
if you told me, I just don't remember.
Because it was because that happened to my parents and then your parents got back together.
Yeah, but that was like my mom and dad they got divorced when I was like 3 or 4. And then my dad went through a rough period, multiple rough periods, and then they got back together when I was like 20 or something.
Was it that young? Were you really that young?
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I was going back and forth with them, and it sucked.
And because I remember we would go have sleepovers at your dad's house, and he always had girlfriends.
Yeah.
It was fun. I mean, that's the first time I ever smoked a cigarette was at your dad's house.
Yeah, at the skate park.
Yep.
Oh God.
What were you, like 14, 13?
I don't know. Yeah, we would go to the skate park, and we would I don't know about you, but I would smoke them, and I wouldn't inhale.
Just draw it into your mouth and...
Yeah. It would just look cool to be smoking, and then someone at the skate park called me out, and it was like, "You're not even inhaling." So I ended up inhaling, and I almost like passed out. Like seriously, it was the scariest moment. I was so high from nicotine, and I was like, "That sucked," but I have to keep going.
Green behind the gills.
Yeah.
Have to keep going.
Yeah, if I want any sort of street cred, I need to do this. Okay, so what was your childhood like? Like your sister's way older than you, so you don't really have like, I don't know, were you guys pretty close? I know you guys are closer now, but growing up?
No, not growing up. We weren't really close because it was basically like having two single children, because we were never in the same school at the same time. Our friend groups were because of the age difference, we basically had nothing in common. Not to mention, she was like the quintessential, like perfect student, straight A's, captain of the dance line, dated the high school hockey coach or hockey captain, sorry. And, then she went off to a 4-year college, whereas I was like a skateboarder, always wanted to push the envelope, wacky hairdos, piercings, the whole nine. And, I didn't get great grades, and then I went to a trade school, so very, very different. And just always kind of butted heads. And then now we're much closer, obviously, because we're both adults. But no, it was rocky for a while. But it was pretty sweet when she went off to college. It was like, sick. The house is mine now.
What, you were always the kid with like the crazy mohawk, colored hair, new piercings every week, baggy clothes. Where did that stem from? Why do you think you did that, basically?
Honestly, as a kid, I loved, like kind of in your last podcast, Tony was always talking about, he was like, do you want to go play pretend? Same thing. Loved it. Loved dressing up as a kid and just like using my imagination, whether it be playing like Army guys or Cowboys and Indians or
Native Americans.
Yeah, thanks. Or, you know, being a pirate or whatever. So then like being able to put on like the punk rock uniform, it was like getting to play dress up every day. And I loved it, honestly. I mean, aside from all the negative feedback I got from it, or, you know, because we were in such like a privileged part of Minneapolis that like I was stuck out like a sore thumb. But I kind of liked that. I kind of liked at that time in my life, I liked the attention drawn to me, whether it be positive or negative.
Yeah.
So, just it was like playing dress up. Plus, like, I always think mohawks are super cool. Same with like dreadlocks and just people that look unique. Just there was something about that. That drew me in.
Do you think the lack of diversity in Edina kind of drew you to that wanting to be different, like the outcasts and people who dressed differently and went against the grain? Where did that come from, that mindset of wanting to be kind of different? Do you know?
Honestly, I don't think I do, but I remember I played team sports as a kid.
What did you play?
Like floor hockey, basketball, baseball, a couple others. I think I tried volleyball, just whatever, like through the YMCA, whatever my parents would put me in. And it just wasn't for me. Didn't really like team sports for whatever reason. I think a big part of it was like in basketball, for instance, I never wanted the ball to be passed to me and then have to try and take the shot at like the buzzer beater and miss it and let my team down. And so that kind of like went for anything that's like you're gonna be as like a team and they're gonna rely on you. So I gravitated towards something that was more solo, you know. And for me, I always thought skateboarding was so cool. There's a couple skateboarders in my neighborhood growing up, and I don't know if that's where I got the influence from or what it was, but just something about skateboarding was just the coolest thing in the world to me. So I got my first one when I was like 5 years old. It got stolen, so then my parents were like, we're not buying you another one. So it took like, I don't know, another 5 years before I got another skateboard. But like just something about it, like I remember looking in magazines and seeing like these guys that were able to take their skateboards to, you know, these crazy heights just by doing like an ollie or something and just doing these big gaps. And it was so cool to me because there was nothing keeping their feet like strapped to the board or using their hands. It was just something about it. And then I started to learn how to skateboard, and it was really fun. I met a lot of great people that way, and then snowboarding, that was super
easy transition.
Yep.
Did you have any like childhood heroes where you're like, that's who I want to grow up to be, like that you emulated or wanted to? I'm sure it's different at different points in your life, but did you have anybody that where you were like looked up to?
You know, I don't really know, honestly. Like, I just got done watching Tony's podcast, and it's so funny that some of the things he said, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, like, not actual people that existed, more characters. Like, my favorite Disney movie growing up was Peter Pan. Something about it, you know, just Never Never Land and whatever, and just, like, always being able to be a kid and tree houses and this and that and blah, blah, blah. So, more like, probably make-believe or, like, fictional characters is what I kind of looked up to more than anything else. And just Peter Pan's not the greatest example, but
no, I mean it's so weird because if someone asked me like who did you look up to as a kid, my first reaction would never go to like a fictional character ever.
Well, I don't know, I was thinking about this actually because I knew you were going to ask this question, and like Sting, the wrestler, the professional wrestler. But again, that's a character. That's not actually a person. Like,
right.
That's kind of a blurred line, but you know what I mean? Like his
controversial opinion. Wrestling's real to some people, Alec.
Yeah, you better believe it. So yeah, like, I don't know, just characters more than an actual person per se.
What did your parents do?
You mean professionally?
Yeah.
My mom was a nurse for like a private practice for a while, and then he retired, so she just kind of had to figure something else out. And then like she eventually got remarried. They bought a hobby farm, so she did that for a while, did like a kind of an Airbnb or VRBO kind of a thing. So, and she always wanted a farm growing up, so she got to do that. But now she's back into nursing because that's what she went to school for. And my dad,
does she love it, the nursing? I thought she retired, didn't she?
She did, but she just went down to like a couple days a week.
Okay, yeah.
So
all right.
And then my dad realistically sold a lot of drugs. His actual profession was like a used car dealer. Like he had his own like lot and stuff, and then he ended up working for the Luther Corporation somehow. Like I think Rudy ended up buying his dealership and put him into like a position with a lot of power.
Yeah.
But he ended up getting fired by David, Rudy's son, after he took over. I don't exactly know the details, but so my dad was always into cars, mom was always into healthcare. I think that's kind of where it stemmed for me as far as cars go, is through my dad.
Yeah. I don't. It's so weird because my dad was in the same industry.
Yeah.
But I never. It never. He didn't like. For him, it was more like the relationship aspect of selling cars. Like he loved like connecting with people.
Yeah.
Like his big thing wasn't like cars. It's so weird because selling something, you would probably want to be passionate about it, but his big thing was like connecting with as many people as possible. And even like at his funeral, like how many fucking past customers he had, it was like holy shit. But that's
the thing. You're like selling yourself more than you're selling the car,
right?
And
true.
that can, like, even in your profession now, like, you know, you're always telling me that you're more about like making a connection with the realtor versus actually like being like, hey, I can do this for you.
Right. Yeah. It's weird selling a product versus selling yourself. So like if I go, it's easy to sell a product to a realtor, but if you're trying to sell it to just a normal person, you come off as like disingenuous and you just sound kind of scummy.
Yeah.
Like you're just trying
I
to
know
make
what
a
you
buck and
A
really
used car salesman.
Yeah.
That's why they have that bad rap.
reputation. Yeah. So, so right now, when did you, because you're a mechanic, you work for Subaru, which I probably like 10 years ago would be like your dream job, right? Or I guess, what was your dream job as a kid? Let's start there.
As a kid?
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
man.
you know, when you're a kid and you're like, oh, I can't wait. When I grow up, I want to be a
Professional skateboarder.
Okay. Yeah.
All of my like dream jobs were always like unobtainable. You know, it wasn't something that you could work towards it, but like
what do you mean? Give me an example.
like being a professional skateboarder, you have to have like raw talent and then also a lot of determination to go the extra mile to like you
Right.
know, really make that happen. It's not impossible, but you have to have a certain level of, like I said, raw talent. But like, I don't know, an astronaut. I mean, space is cool.
Space is cool. Would you go to space? Hypothetically, if Elon Musk called you and was like, hey, we need just regular civilian for SpaceX, would you go on one?
Yeah,
You would?
absolutely.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think it'd be so fun.
I'd be so wouldn't you be afraid?
Yeah, but seek discomfort.
Oh, you're so gay.
I saw a guy, I was watching a video and he had a sweatshirt that said seek discomfort.
You know what
I was
that's from?
No. Oh, is that's why?
No. It's I love the phrase seek discomfort, but it's from a YouTube channel called,
It might have been his YouTube channel.
what is it? Something Theory. Fuck. It's a really good channel. They like go out and do different things like climbing like Mount Everest with Wim Hof in their shorts and
Like, they actually do that?
yeah. Like they go out and do crazy things and like crazy adventures to get outside their comfort zone and like
That's like a physical comfort zone, though. I'm thinking like mentally.
right, they do that too. I mean,
Okay.
that would be hard mentally to fuck, what is it?
It's worth looking up for this.
Seriously, it's gonna bug me. It's like yes theory. So they
Yes
say
theory.
yes to everything.
Oh,
like
kind of like the movie Yes Man.
yeah. So really good channel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Fuck that, lost my train of thought.
I mean, seeking discomfort is what, like, again, what Tony said. It's how you grow. Like, that was such a good podcast because
Was it really?
Dude, Tony had so much good insight.
He's so good.
And especially because he's like basically hit rock bottom and then rebounded, which
Yeah.
not everybody does, you know.
Yeah, well, he's still rebounding.
Well, right.
Because
It's never
I talked to him after, and he's still dealing with repercussions of his drug addiction, and it takes a while to, financially, just to get out of all the shit that you caused along the way.
I'm sure.
Okay, so when did you become a mechanic?
So I pretty much always worked in cars. Once I became 16, was old enough to drive, right at maybe 15, started to get really interested in cars.
Like what kind of cars? Hondas.
Japanese cars, yeah,
Yeah.
actually. Like American Muscle was like, oh, that's cool, but for whatever reason, it was like the underdog, like a Japanese car, like a Honda Civic.
4-cylinder beating a V8 and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And then Fast and the Furious came out like probably right before I got my license, a couple years before it. So then that just like really amped it up. And I started working on cars in like a Jiffy Lube, Grandview, but like as a rapid lube, like nothing crazy, just kind of worked my way up. And then eventually went to tech school and got to be like a real full-blown mechanic when I was like 23. Worked at a little mom and pop shop, and they kind of like taught me everything I know. And
Which one?
University Service.
Oh, okay, yeah. Wow.
Because like I worked for a really, really good guy, a really smart guy, and he taught me how to fix cars correctly. Like don't cut corners, take the extra time to make sure it's done right, double, triple check your work. Because at that shop, customer retention was way more important than, turning and burning, which is unfortunately the exact opposite about where I work now.
Yeah.
Not to like say that bad work comes out of that shop, but there's just
They need to make
much.
a profit.
Yeah, it's still a shop.
I feel like every mechanic I've met just hates. I'm sure there's some love in it, obviously, but it's like they hate their job.
I don't hate my job. I left and then went back, and that was a really good thing to do because it gave me perspective.
Yeah, why'd you leave? What did you you thought the grass was greener? You wanted to try something new?
Wanted to try something new. Been doing it for so long, and I was convinced that the automotive industry was just like a terrible place to work. There's a lot of liberties and a lot of benefits that you don't really notice until they're gone. Like stuff that you just take for granted. Just the fact of having a shop to work in, having access to all the chemicals you need, having access to an air compressor, a hoist, so on and so forth. Like there's a lot of stuff like that. Or even just, if you want to just kind of hang out and like go around, talk to people all day long, you can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going to be a little upset that you're not making any money, but you can do that. You can do kind of whatever you want for the most part. But it's, I left because I was just convinced that there was no end in sight. I was just super unhappy. Again, I took all these things for granted. And like, I realized that it's not just about the work you do day in and day out, because nobody likes work.
Right.
And I realized that no matter what job I have, I'm going to complain about it.
Yeah. And I think I told you that when I lived here is like, you're going to find shitty stuff about your new job. Mm-hmm. There's just not, even people that do like a dream job of like
owning
YouTube or it's like you're going to find shitty stuff about it. And, it's so rare that a person genuinely loves everything about their job.
Right. And that's not reality.
Yeah.
And no matter what is out there on any social media platform, you don't see the day-to-day and stuff, so it's all fake. But I left, came back. I'm glad I came back, honestly. And because it's more about like the people I work with, and I was going into people's houses. That was disgusting.
Yeah, what did you do? I don't know if you said it already.
I went and worked for CenterPoint Energy fixing appliances. So they spent 6 months teaching us. So I was getting paid to learn a new skill, which was like...
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up, but did it for like 7 months total and was like, okay, this is not for me. Plus I had gotten used to flat rate, so I can physically be at the shop for 40 hours. But I could still build up 60 hours because that's just the way the automotive industry works. So I got really used to that and come to realize that there was just a lot of stuff that I wasn't going to like about CenterPoint. Great company to work for. I just didn't like what I did there.
That's fair. Are you glad you tried it? Did it give you a whole new appreciation for
100%
being a mechanic?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So again, like I don't regret it at all. And I was able to go back to my current job
and negotiate some negotiating power.
Yeah, big time. So, and like they really like me, and I like everybody I work with for the most part, and super close to my house. So there's a lot of things I didn't really take into consideration when I was jumping ship.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself in the future? Like, do you have like a plan? Are you happy where you're at? So you're just going to try and be consistent with what you're doing now, or what do you think?
Honestly, it's just about day to day.
Yeah.
Just because, like, mental health is a real thing. It's like, I don't know if it's because it's winter outside or what, but sometimes you just get into a funk, and
totally,
it's just hard to, focus on big picture things when you're just getting through each day. And realistically, like, I'm not trying to put it as this big thing, but realistically, it's just like, if I can cross off a couple things each day, I'm feeling good about it.
Yeah.
Like, I hate cleaning, but I found that, like, I'm the type of person that will look at a clean room after I'm done with it and just be like, yeah, good job, man. Good job.
For sure.
That looks so good.
100%.
And it's so silly. Like, when I mow the backyard, I'll sit out on my back deck and just be like, man, that looks good. But, like, trying to get me to do it is like just pulling teeth.
Yeah.
I'll come up with any excuse not to do it.
It's like me working out. It's like, fuck. And then when I do it, I'm like, after you work out, you're looking more swole. Your muscles are full.
Pumped.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, all right.
Yeah. I can't believe you stuck with it. Like, when I went to Centerpoint, that was one other good thing, is because I wasn't nearly as active or working as long hours. I started working out a bunch, running, doing sit-ups, lifting a little bit of weight, and felt great. But going back to the shop now, I'm way more active. I'm on my feet all day long, 10 hours a day. It's so hard to even come home and do 50 sit-ups.
Right. No, I get it. Like, if you're doing something physically demanding all day and then expecting, it's hard to get started. I feel like once you, like, for me, I had a while there where I would just work out in the morning before work, which is, I've kind of fell off that bandwagon for a little bit now, but man, it's like coming home after work knowing that I already worked out and I just did a full day's work. It's like now I can just fucking coast and hang out with the family. And, yeah, dude, it's the best. But where are you at mentally right now? How are you feeling?
Today, right this second?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good, actually.
That's good.
Yeah.
I know for me, winter's just fucking brutal and I get manically depressed and exercising for me helps, but it's just like,
you still got your sunlight?
Yeah, but I just
sun lamp.
The cold. Yeah, the sun lamp, I got it. How have you handled this winter so far?
The last 2 winters I didn't really snowboard very much, and snowboarding used to be like the thing I lived for. Like, I used to like wait all summer long, just like, come on, let's get winter here, let's get some snow because of snowboarding. And last 2 winters I couldn't really go. My back was messed up, my knee was messed up. So I've been trying to go as much as I can. It's still super fun. It's kind of frustrating though, because like I'm definitely past my prime, which is kind of hard to admit. I mean, it makes sense. I'm 34 now.
Right. Happy birthday, by the way. It was his birthday 5 days ago. Is it the 30th today?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
So like, it's frustrating because like I'm doing all these like maneuvers or tricks that I used to be able to do, but like they're not up to like my standards and stuff like that. But that
would kill me.
Right. And it's because like I've done them all before. I used to be way better at them, but then like I've noticed like just some hard impacts really hurt my back and stuff. So it's difficult because I'm trying to remind myself like, this isn't, this is for fun. This isn't, you're not doing it to like get stuff from sponsors anymore. You're not trying to like put out videos, anything.
Not trying
like
to prove to anybody that.
Right.
What like for me when I go snowboarding, it's like I have fun just carving down the hill or mountain or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you still find enjoyment in that, or is that kind of like Or are you always looking for like, okay, I need to do something?
If I have a mountain, I'm good with green circles all day long.
Yeah.
I don't even care. I just want to cruise the mountain. Like,
Green circles, explain that.
That's like the beginner. It's like green circle, blue square, black diamond. That's like the tier or how it all plays out in terms of difficulty. So like green circles are really mellow. A lot of families are on them, whatever. But it's usually a nice kind of cat track back and forth. But like I could do that all day long because it's such a long process to get from top to bottom. And it's so fun. Compared to around here, it's you spend
hills that are 30 seconds long.
You spend more time on the chairlift.
Yeah.
So I realistically kind of had this thought. I don't know if it was last year. Either way, me and all my friends that spend a lot of time in the park with the rails and the jumps, we I'm convinced it's because we got so good at just regular snowboarding, carving down the hill. It wasn't really exciting anymore. So then the next best thing was to go into the park and do the rails and the jumps. And so, because I was thinking about like somebody that doesn't really know how to snowboard, and it's like, it's kind of scary. It's an adrenaline rush just to go from the top of the hill here to the bottom. Like if they can make it all the way down without falling or, whatever, that's an adrenaline rush.
Man, it'd be like riding your bike and then going to a motorcycle and then going back to your bike.
Yeah, that's actually a really
like,
good way of putting it. Like, so we just don't have any mountains here. If we did,
Keep going.
That's all I'd want to do is just mountain board.
If we had mountains,
Oh God,
wouldn't that be sick?
top to bottom. We're actually. Did I tell you we're going to Utah?
You invited me, I think.
Yeah. What the heck, man?
Yeah, sorry. I'm
Come
just
with.
a fucking kid at home and this
Oh my
job.
gosh.
And yeah.
A loving wife. Jesus,
Yeah, it's the
Can you
fucking
believe
worst.
it?
Yeah, so what's who are you going to Utah with?
My two cousins. So we did that trip to
Oh,
Colorado
nice.
before COVID, and then my shoulder broke, or my cousin broke his shoulder so bad.
Round two? Utah?
I was surprised that he even suggested a trip this year. Honestly, I thought that was going to be like it forever.
Deal breaker.
But Utah, like it's been record snowfall for like a bunch of states this year, and Utah is just getting absolutely dumped on because they have
Yeah.
lake effect out there, which is kind of like what we have up on the Great Lakes, but Salt Lake just dumps.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited because they've never experienced like waist deep, knee deep like powder snow because that's
I've
so
never.
different.
I don't think I have.
It's so cool.
Yeah?
It's the coolest feeling in the world. Like I imagine what it would be like to like board through the clouds.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's-
it looks cool on camera whenever I see like
It's life changing.
videos on YouTube and they're like cutting through. Mm-hmm. Like, God, it looks hard.
It is. It's different.
My
than,
legs would be dead.
Yeah, it's a lot of leaning back. So, have you ever wakeboarded?
No, I kind of get like what it would feel like.
You
though,
definitely
but,
have to keep your tip up, and
Yeah,
it's but it's the coolest feeling in the world. Like if I could, I would do that for the rest of my life, every
Yeah.
single day.
yeah, that would be really cool.
That's my 5-year plan.
Yeah, really?
Somehow get to the mountains.
Are you gonna? Do you think you'll be a mechanic your whole life, or are you? Well, let me rephrase that. Are you wanting to go like the entrepreneur route or like self-employed mechanic?
Like own my own shop. Open my own shop.
Yeah. Or even just like, set up a shop in your garage right now or down the road.
My good buddy put it to me this way. He's like, he wants to own a business, not own a job.
Okay.
Meaning he doesn't want to have a small business and then end up having to be there every single day, that every single hour the place is open. That's owning a job versus owning a business that kind of runs on its own, and you can go off and do whatever else you want because it's self-sustaining. So I would be afraid
ideally that would be awesome.
Right, and it's not like it happens overnight. Like usually you got to put in 10 years or something before it is self-sustaining. But I would be afraid that it would never get to that point. But seek discomfort, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that you just kind of wing it and see what happens. But I'm also not very business savvy. Like I would have to reach out to a bunch of people and be like, hey, can I get a favor?
Yeah, me being at Edge Home Finance and being a
Shameless
mortgage
plug.
Yeah. And being at Edge Home Finance, being a mortgage broker, the people I'm around every day are just like,
Super motivated.
I wouldn't even say that, but they're just on the grind, always pushing forward regardless of how they feel, which is, for me, a lot of times I catch myself having my emotions direct my day versus
yeah.
like my
100%.
discipline and logic. They're able to, without them knowing, remind me to stop being a fucking pussy and just go. Like, let's
Yeah.
fucking go.
Yep.
Do you have anybody around you that you can be a sheep to, that you can emulate, that kind of inspires you on a daily basis?
Not really. And that's actually a problem.
That's normal though. That's
Like they say, like you are the sum of the 5
Right.
closest people around you.
Right.
And so you should always try and surround yourself with somebody that's going to push you to do better. And actually, you living here was a good influence on me. That was it helped a lot. So then when you moved out, it's just like, wah, wah, wah. But, like, I don't know. There's some people I work with, but I don't know. I have like a bunch of friends that kind of do like startups. Like I got a friend that just tried to do, or he's starting like a sunglasses and snowboard goggle company.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But like a lot of stuff like that is, I don't know, not destined to fail, but like the way I look at it is like, let's say I was going to make a sweatshirt company, and then most of the people that are going to buy them are going to be friends. So then I have to basically sell it at like wholesale price. So I'm not actually making money on it.
Well, that's the weird thing is I don't get like when people have friends that are running a business or whatever, in my mind, it's like, I'm trying to support you while you help me. Why would I try and undercut and lowball you?
You mean for like a discounted price?
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. I mean, I get if you're successful and you're just doing someone a favor because you're friends, but like if someone's clearly just like trying to run a successful business and they're kind of, whatever.
Especially in like the beginning when it's
it's like
every dollar matters.
It's just weird. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you're probably more well connected than you'd think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, for example, even Connor, who's running like a successful tattoo business, the guy who owned University Auto Service.
Maybe people at work, people through the snowboarding community.
Yeah.
It's weird, like with the snowboarding community for a while, I was kind of jaded or had like a chip on my shoulder because it was like, all these guys want to do party. All they want, like they live in the rock star lifestyle. Kind of like skateboarders, like if someone goes pro at a young age, in my opinion, or at least what I've seen in the years that's passed, is they don't treat it like they're professional athletes. They treat it like they're just going to party and get drunk every night and do a bunch of drugs and whatever. And so that kind of stuck with me, and that's how I like perceived the snowboard community. But that's not even the truth. After kind of getting back into it this year, there is that aspect of it, but you just gotta, distance yourself from that if you're trying to take it more seriously or...
Right. Like, I feel like there's this, I forgot the skateboarder name, but he does, like, yoga and stretches.
Neen Williams.
Does he have dreads?
Yep.
Yeah.
He used to be, like, one of the big partiers, too.
Yeah. And then he got his shit together.
Yeah, and he does a bunch of workouts. He's, like, in the best shape he's ever been.
He's like a vegetarian too, and
yeah, and he's like, I think he's approaching 40, and he fucking
looks great,
looks amazing.
Shredded.
Yeah, seriously, and like that's allowed him to skateboard more for a longer period of time because it's really hard on your body.
Yeah.
So like, there's another pro skateboarder who like just gets drunk all the time.
It's not sustainable.
Somehow he's still doing it, but I can only imagine what he's going to feel like when he's 45.
Right. Yeah,
like,
that's...
Also doesn't have like a skill to fall back on aside from connections through the industry. But that's, who knows? I don't know what their life is like.
Moving in another direction, what's your love life like?
So much fun.
I mean, I know you're doing the Tinder game and, whatever.
The Tinder, the Hinge, the Bumble.
Yeah.
Dating apps suck.
Yeah.
It's the worst. But like, I've never been good at just approaching somebody, a stranger at like the bar and been like, how
it's
much
hard.
a polar bear weighs?
Yeah.
Like,
and plus, break the ice.
Yeah. And then, but like also nobody likes rejection, but oh my God, just like so much anxiety, like especially if you're out with your friends, see a cute girl and your friends watch you go over there, get turned down. You got to come back with like your tail between your legs. Like,
seek discomfort.
Oh my God, it's like crippling anxiety. It's like Tony said, I would rather just not do it.
Yeah.
But again, that's something I'm working on, is trying to and also be like, another thing I'm working on is just trying to be more present in conversations. Cause a lot of times they'll just be like automatic, like rebuttals or whatever, not just scratching the surface, no sustenance there.
Well, it's like, it's a power move too. I've realized is like being okay with those pauses.
Yeah, and not trying to fill that awkward silence.
Yeah, you look weak and insecure if you're constantly trying to fill the air with words because it's uncomfortable.
Right.
If you're okay collecting your thoughts and having those pauses, if someone asks you a question, instead of immediately responding, taking a second to think about something thoughtful, it shows like a level of confidence that I feel like it's super rare these days.
Yeah. I'm also, my vocabulary sucks. So like I have a problem just trying to get words out.
Really?
Like when people are talking and like I want to say something but I can't think of like the correct term or terminology, then the awkward silence happens, and it's just because I'm trying to like come up with a rebuttal or whatever, and then all of a sudden I start to like panic, and then it just gets even worse. It's just like this downward spiral.
I know what you mean.
So it's all about being comfortable, being more present, and
I would
in
always,
conversations.
like, whenever that happens to me, I would always just vocalize exactly
you're-
like,
you're
hey,
thinking.
I know there's an awkward pause here, but it's just me trying to
Oh, really?
think of what to say.
That's
Yeah,
like
you know,
that's more recently.
no, I just like if there's like if there's something I'm struggling to get out, I'll kind of like, you know, have a little bit of like I'll kind of laugh at myself and let them know, hey, my mind's going blank right now. Don't let this awkward pause make you uncomfortable.
Right, because I'm not uncomfortable. You're
I'm just trying to be witty, and I can't come up with anything right now. You can just watch me struggle as I try this stuff.
No, so I mean, and that applies to the dating thing. Like when I go out on first dates, like I want to be this like witty, charming, full of banter kind of guy, like knows all the right things to say. And then an awkward silence happens, or I'm trying to come up with a term, and it's just like, and then they're just staring at me, and it's just like,
Oh, I would address it immediately.
yeah.
Oh yeah, if there's an awkward silence, I'd probably have something in my back pocket, something witty to address the awkward silence.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great way of doing it, honestly.
Just go the self-deprecation route, honestly.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Can't get any worse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, dating apps in and of themselves are just... Because, like, I watched a documentary. It was talking about, you know, you get endorphins that are released every time you get a match. Or, you know, it's starting something new. So, with dating apps, like, what's to stop you from just continuously swiping and seeking for the next best thing? Or, you know, like, I just realized recently, every time I open a dating app, it brings me directly to new people that I can swipe on, not to my messages. Even if it's like so-and-so messaged you, you click on that, it'll bring you to like a bunch of new people, and it's like almost force of habit just to be like, let's see what we got here. It's like, I know
I'm talking to someone amazing right now, but there's 10 new girls that could possibly be better.
Right. Yeah. So it's just damaging.
Have you thought about just getting off of them?
Actually, recently, because like I've had so many different experiences with Tinder, but one of them being just
catfishing.
Yeah, and just like garbage, like something that I actually thought was going to turn into something. So I put like, I'm vulnerable. I put like 110% effort into it. Maybe not that much, maybe 95%. And either way, and then, you know, something happens and it's just like, oh, well,
feels like a waste of time.
Yeah, and then so I was thinking to myself, like, you know, putting myself out there, even if I get rejected, I got to come back to my group of friends with my tail between my legs. In that situation or scenario, I just have to think to myself, well, it's better than Tinder.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about just like getting off social media altogether, but it sucks because I have to use it for work. Usually, like I have to, you know, if I want to stay connected easily with all the realtors and stuff, it's like, I don't know.
It's become, if you don't have a presence on social media, you basically don't exist. Especially because I use it.
Well, I'm not going out or anything, so it's like.
But even on like a dating aspect, like if they can't do their like research and like either find you on Facebook or Instagram, it's like, well, then that's not necessarily a red flag, but it's like, okay, I know even less about this guy. Like, so I don't know. I kind of hate it, and it's mindless scrolling. I'll open it to do something, and then I'll just. All of a sudden, I've wasted like 30 minutes just going like this, like, and it's entertaining to a certain aspect. But anytime I catch myself doing that, being like, I could be doing anything productive.
I do the same.
Anything else.
I do the same thing with Instagram Reels.
That's mainly what I'm talking about.
I noticed like the past 2 days, especially, I'll just scroll, and then I'll get off it for like 5 or 10 minutes, and normal life just isn't as. I'm not getting that rush. Everything's just kind of dull and. Like, it's bad when I have Felix, you know, doing all these cute things and learning different words and whatever, and I'm just kind of like, eh. Like, that's the reality. Like, obviously, it's like, if
it
my...
should be fulfilling.
Yeah, if my attention has to compete, if Felix has to compete with Instagram, it's like, that's
good
sad.
luck. Well, but that's the thing too. Like, my attention span has gotten so bad. I blame it on Instagram and just reels of like just quick, like constant, however long these videos are. And maybe that's not actually the reason, but that's what I'm going to blame it on.
I think you're right.
And it's made it so bad. Like, it's made it so hard to even just go on Netflix and watch like
a full movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'll start playing on my phone or something, or something doesn't captivate me because it's just like, it's really playing into my like ADD.
Where do you think, because I've known you've struggled, having, I don't want to say struggled, but relationships with women for a while. Where does that stem from? Is it me? Like this?
Is it you?
No.
Yeah, you're telling them stuff behind my back, aren't you?
He's got a really small dick. You're gonna hate this guy. Don't even waste your time. No, like
4 weeks from now, he's gonna. Yeah, it's gonna be terrible.
Good luck.
Oh.
Is it like, because we have history from Sarah, or is it like before that, or what? I don't know. I guess I'm trying to narrow down.
Yeah, absolutely. It's weird because I feel like back in high school and stuff, I was way more charismatic, even in my early 20s.
Oh, me too. I'm dead inside. Seriously, no, dude. I don't know how we used to. Sorry, I'm not trying to go off on a tangent, but how we used to like die laughing, where it's like, oh my god, I can't breathe. I'm laughing so hard.
Yes,
dude. I don't remember the last time I did that.
I do.
Do you?
With you?
No, just in general. I don't. Maybe when we were on mushrooms or something.
That's it. That's like the last time I can remember, like having a belly laugh where you're just like uncontrollable.
Eyes are red. Your face is flushed. Yeah, dude. I don't.
It doesn't really. And I don't know why that is.
It's been like months.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a year or two or. Yeah.
Since the last time we took mushrooms.
Literally, like I'm so flat right now.
Yeah, it's that was a big reason why I got off of antidepressants, because everything was just gray and just like plateau. There were no highs, there were no lows.
Yeah, let's talk about that. When did you get prescribed? What were you on? Lexapro?
No, sertraline, so the generic version of Zoloft.
Okay, yeah. When did you get on that, and why?
Well, so I was like on and off antidepressants like throughout high school and stuff. I want to say the time frames are kind of blurry, but either way, probably in my 20s.
I'm gonna get the microphone a little bit closer. That's good. Perfect.
Is that better?
Yeah.
ASMR.
Yeah.
Started probably in my 20s. Started taking Zoloft or sertraline on a daily basis for probably close to 5+ years, and I took it more for social anxiety, because in social situations, if there's like a group of people, let's say 4 or more, and if I'm telling a story and all their attention is on me, I just I panic. Like, I can't.
That's scary.
I can do one-on-one interactions, no problem. I mean, some problems. Either way, it just I don't know. I trip over my words and then I feel like an idiot. So I took it more for social anxiety than actual depression.
It's so weird. I'm the opposite in that. If I'm doing like a one-on-one conversation, I'm usually better if there's a group sometimes. If there's a group of 5 and I'm talking to all of them, I'm better than just one-on-one.
Really?
Yeah, I don't usually. It depends on the people, obviously. Yeah.
And I used to, honestly, like so going back to what I was saying, like I took it for social anxiety.
Sorry, I kind of derailed you.
Realistically, it was probably because I was just smoking too much weed. Honestly,
right.
Like
that's why I got on too.
And I never wanted to accept that as like okay, this is actually hindering me, not making me better. So I like put a Band-Aid on, which would be taking antidepressants or whatever. And because I smoked weed for fucking like 15 years, like basically every single day, and it wasn't. So anyway, that was antidepressants, but the highs and lows weren't there. It was just like being not a zombie, not like an opiate zombie or anything, but just kind of just
stale.
Yeah. And so
no real highs, no real lows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was actually talking to Ashley Womp Womp about it, and she kind of told me the same thing. She was like, yeah, it's just plateaued. And so she got off of it, and after having that conversation, I was like, well, I'll try it. So tapered off and whatever. And
I think I was living here at the time when
I think it was when
got
we
off, maybe.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, maybe. Either way, it was when we went to the conversation with me and Ashley happened when we went to party at Caitlin's house. That night
wow.
you got 400 yards on that golf machine.
Yeah, I'm not trying to brag or anything. That's normal, but
I just
whatever.
watched that video just recently.
Did I make it? It was on my channel?
Video? Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was. I watched a bunch of your videos just recently.
Oh, man.
It's pretty funny. There's some good ones on there.
Yeah.
The Womp Womp one, or the night where it's you, Ashley, and Caitlin, and you guys
God.
are drinking. And there's one point where Ashley says something to you, and you just like spit up all because you guys were doing Power Hour, and it was. Oh,
Was it just me, Ashley, and Caitlin?
Yeah, and then I come home at like the very end of the video.
Oh, okay.
It was like probably the third or fourth time we tried to do Power Hour videos.
Yeah.
Power 45. Yeah. And then I watched the one where I'm just like being a little bitch the whole time. Like I ate too much food.
Your
I'm
stomach,
just like,
yeah.
oh.
Dude, I tried so hard to get you involved in like stuff, and it felt like and I feel
pulling
like you
teeth.
yeah. Although I feel like it was probably a two-way street though, because I feel like you probably, tried to get me to snowboard and stuff, and it was just like no. But
Or go drifting.
yeah, oh no, dude, it's scary.
So fun. The
Yeah.
best. Either way, I forgot where we're going with this. Doesn't matter.
Antidepressants.
Yeah. Thought
So
about.
now are you off?
Yeah, I haven't since tapering off. I haven't taken any, but I've been thinking about taking them again, just because.
Did it affect your sex drive? Because when I was on them years ago, same thing though. It's like I was just smoking weed every day. It's like I don't get why I'm depressed. It's so weird,
Right?
I'm not
doing
just high
anything
all the time
Yeah.
and just in a fucking haze of
Dude,
just
weed's
stupidity.
tight, right?
Yeah,
It affected my sex drive, and it made me be able to last way longer.
really.
Oh my god! And it's funny because my dad was the one that like told me that too. He's like, "It's antidepressants. It really make you a hit with the ladies. You could just hold it."
Dude, see,
like,
I
what?
already
wasn't
could
wrong.
last long, so it made it like, dude,
Impossible.
Literally, like I was like, dude, full like sweat, body sore the next day. It's like it was too hard.
Yeah, no, it got to the point where it was getting like that for me, and I think that was a big reason why I wanted to get off of them too, because it was like, okay, this is, and then that doesn't make the girl feel good.
Yeah.
Like nobody wants like a partner that's gonna last like 3 minutes or 3 pump chump, but
Yeah.
like at the same time, I've heard like that does wonders for girls' self-esteem. It's like, oh, you think I'm so pretty? It's like you
Yeah,
couldn't even
yeah.
hold it, huh? So
Yeah.
like the exact opposite probably has the same effect. Like you're going for like 45 minutes, and it's like,
Really, nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's happened. Yeah.
Fuck. So okay. I had a follow up question, but now I can't think of it.
I mean, so like for instance, I just had this kind of fling with this girl. I thought it was going awesome.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened. There wasn't like a clear like indication where it was just like, oh, yep, that's where she lost interest. But
I feel like that's happened to you so many times. No, that sounds horrible.
It
but
does.
I feel like it's like,
that's, dude, I just,
however I look at it, I'm like, oh, nice, things are going well for them, and they're going out, and they're whatever. Then
They're
all of a sudden,
doing
it's just
stuff.
like, boom, like,
yeah. No, I don't know what it is, but it seriously, it happens. And
Yeah.
I was talking to my therapist about it. I'm like, what's the common denominator here? It's like,
Yeah.
what is, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's all in my head. Who knows? But either way, it doesn't make me feel good.
yeah. I'm just trying to think because like.
Maybe like
I know your potential. Like I know you're a good
potential.
Seriously, I know you're a good dude. You're funny. You have a lot to offer. I just don't.
I gotta stop smoking weed again.
Yeah,
Actually,
literally.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're
I was
so witty.
productive on my
Dude,
on the year that I took off.
When you have your own shit going on and you're witty and
Mm-hmm.
you're getting stuff done, girls see that and it's like, girls want like a leader, someone that's gonna like lead by example versus like
100%.
versus like piggyback off of what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, it was really, really helpful because there was a while there where I couldn't imagine not smoking weed
Yeah.
every single day, or like first thing in the morning right away.
Dude,
So I'm-
yeah, weekend you're just like, I have nothing to do. I'm good. I can just smoke weed all day.
Oh God, just wasting time. And that's kind of the habit I've fallen back into. Not nearly as bad as it was, but like I said before, I took a full year off from smoking weed. It was I honestly could not see myself not smoking weed every single day. And that's such like a weird thing to say. Like that's 100% mental addiction. 100%.
Yeah. People downplay like, oh, it's just weed, but like, man, I've seen some like losers, loser potheads, you know, myself included. It's like when I go down that road of, oh, I'll just take an edible on the weekends, and then it's like all of a sudden like, oh god, that was a hard Monday. Oh, Tuesday sucked, and all of a sudden now I'm like halfway through the week. I'm like, I'll take an edible. It's just, you know.
Yeah. I mean, everybody, you know, decompresses differently. You know, has their vices.
Yeah.
And like, not to say that that's a good excuse to be like, well, at least I'm not doing heroin.
Yeah.
But it's and it affects people differently. Like I know people that can smoke weed all day long and still be super motivated to like go out and do stuff.
Remember, Anna would get like straight A's and just ripping bowls during lunch. Yeah.
It does not
so rare
affect me like that.
No.
And you know, like realistically, I wish I would have not smoked so much weed growing up because I feel like that really hindered a lot of my potential. And a lot of it was like, oh, you know, things will just work out. Things will just happen the way they're supposed to. It's like, well, you still have to put in at least some effort.
Yeah.
It's not just going to happen like that, happenstance. But.
Yeah, the previous podcast I did, I was talking about like just wanting to be the cool kid and you know,
that's
edgy,
a big part
like,
of it too.
oh yeah, I'm high. I'm high.
Dude.
Yeah, it's like, God, you're so lame.
I mean, we can see that now, but at the time, like, let's be honest, that was the cool thing to do.
I wanted girls to know I was high. Yeah, I smoked weed. I didn't go to class and I smoked weed.
Maybe you could join me next time.
Yeah, dude. Looking back, that girl was probably like, ugh, gross.
No, I don't smoke weed. I'm gonna go get fucking blackout drunk at this party instead.
Yeah. Where's my UV blue? Fuck.
Terrible.
What? Oh man.
You got to start like writing stuff down. I think
it's so funny.
You need a notebook.
I do have a notebook actually.
I mean, just on the fly.
So your dad, going into your dad, he passed away. What year was that?
2014.
2014.
Like realistically, 6 months after your dad.
Yeah, that's crazy. From suicide. He struggled for years, right, with chronic headaches and
chronic pain, depression.
I would say opiate addiction.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But not by choice.
Right.
At least that's what he said.
Yeah.
You know, because he had chronic pain, and if anybody knows anything about getting on disability, it's really, really difficult. So the fact that he was able to get on disability for headaches, which is essentially something you could just lie about, should speak volumes, because he went through so much stuff where like he had boxes of
surgery
boxes, multiple surgeries, boxes of health records. He ended up towards the end of his life pulling all of his upper teeth out of his upper jaw, all of his teeth out.
Yeah, that's right.
And like his quality of life was just absolutely terrible. So thankfully me and him were super close, very open about it, which has definitely left some sort of trauma on me. But
so when you say open about him wanting to kill himself?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One time at the Lindell house. No, not Lindell. The Knox house. Do you remember that when he had a house in Uptown when we were like in our 20s? That
I think
house,
so.
He tried to overdose and like threw up in his bed and then made his way to the bathroom. So I was the only one there, and I found him. And I was like, what the hell's going on? He's like, you need to call 911 and tell him I tried to overdose. So then ambulance came, blah, blah, blah. And so that was the first time I ever like was confronted with it, or like, you know, had experience with it. And then.
And how did that affect you? I
didn't even know how to process it.
Right.
As like I think I was 19.
Yeah.
Maybe even younger. Like no idea how to process that. So kind of just tucked it away. I think. I don't even think I probably talked to like my mom or somebody about it, but
right.
It just kind of put that away. But then I remember there was another night where he called me, asked me where I was, told him, he's like, okay, you should probably stay there tonight because I'm going to try and kill myself again. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So then I remember going to sleep, like talked to him for a while. You know, it's his decision. He's very much an advocate for assisted suicide because it comes down to, you know, your quality of life. If your quality of life is garbage, like it's still your choice. You shouldn't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Either way. That night, I remember like going to bed thinking like, okay, well, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow without a
Dude,
father.
I wouldn't be able to sleep. I would be
I
like
laid there for a very long time crying, stuff like that, and then come to find out he tried, but it didn't work.
When you say try, what did he do?
I think he tried to overdose again.
Okay.
But his tolerance was so high from the years and years and years of
opiates
and pain management through that way. It just could never get the job done. So he did finally asphyxiate himself using helium, actually, which is, he read a book, forget what it's called, but it's all about assisted suicide. And that was like a really good humane way, because basically you'll just fall asleep and then suffocate.
Yeah.
So I forget what the question was.
Something like how your dad killed himself. How did that affect you? What?
We were very open about it. So like, I am thankful for that, because there's no questions like, oh man, was there something I could have done?
You didn't see it coming or something?
Yeah, like there's aspects of it that I'm grateful for, but at the same time, like, you shouldn't necessarily put that on to like an adolescent.
Yeah, dude.
Is adolescent the right term?
Yeah.
And a young adult.
Dude, I couldn't imagine, and this, no offense to your dad and, where he was mental health wise and whatever, but I couldn't imagine me as a father telling my son, who hypothetically, let's say he's 20, and being like, hey, listen, I'm going to fucking kill myself. Don't come home. Good night. Like,
it wasn't as cut and dry that.
Right.
That's
but
the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah. Spark Notes.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, though.
No,
it's like,
and I do,
dude.
absolutely. And it's, my dad was a manipulative person. I know that. Like, he's still a human. He had his own flaws and stuff like that. But when it comes to being open, like, I knew he loved me unconditionally.
Right, sure.
We had a pretty good relationship overall. For a long time, I was actually scared of my dad for no real reason.
Dude, I was scared of your dad. I mean, in a way of like, he's like...
he's going to make you cut all your hair off because you put gum in mine?
Yeah. Like, just in the fact of like, he's nice right now, but if something, boom, he's pissed. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And absolutely. And like, who knows if that was because of, pain management or what was it?
Right.
It's a little depressing because I never really got to see who my father was. Like, I have very small memories of like, me being really young before my parents got divorced, like playing football with them. The couch was the touchdown, or like boxing with them.
Oh, that's cool.
Like really small glimpses of that. And like, because as I got older, his addiction to the painkillers and so on, and his quality of life kept just going down. It turned out to be that he would sleep for like 20 hours a day. Like, maybe not that much, maybe like 18. And then just like get up, do what he had to do, and then go back to sleep, because it's just a constant, like, the worst headache you could ever imagine, ever had.
Well, and opiates will just fucking make you nod off. It just makes you sleepy all day.
Oh my gosh. It got to the point, like, now looking back on it, I feel so bad, because there'd be times where my dad would just be trying to have a conversation with me, but we've had the conversation like 6 times.
Shit, my mom does that now.
And it's like, you can't help it, but you get a little short with them. And like, sometimes I have dreams now that I'm in that situation where I'm getting to have a conversation with my dad again, but it's one of those conversations where it's like, we've already had it. We've already been over this. So then in my dream, I'm even getting short with them. And when I wake up, I'm like, well, you always wanted another opportunity to have a conversation with your dad.
And but keep fucking it up.
Yeah, look how it fucking turned out.
I mean, that's every kid, though, that, they hear the same story and, they lose patience for it. It's crazy to me. I know, for me, I had to pick my dad up from detox one time. And, I always pictured my dad as like this, like, irresponsible.
Oh, really? I was going to say the opposite. I was going to say like this, not ray of sunshine, but like this perfect father figure.
No, not at all. Actually, the opposite,
Degen?
No,
just kidding.
Just kind of like irresponsible, not good with his money.
Sure.
Didn't have it together. I didn't picture him as like this well put together, adult that I idolized.
Sure.
And as I get older, it's like, man, like, it sucks being an adult and a father sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, it wears you down. I'm tired all the time. Like, dude, I get it. Like, he drank a lot and, also opiates and, whatever, but
and just doing his best.
Yeah,
Because that's the thing
dude.
that we as children forget. It's like our parents are still just regular old human beings.
Yeah,
You know, they have their own issues. They've got their own coping mechanisms. Like my mom, she drinks a little bit too much. And so I've actually been trying to get her to smoke CBD because I've smoked a couple joints with her. And she loves it because she used to smoke a ton of weed. And she likes the CBD because it does something to you. It doesn't get you high, but it does like a little
Mellows
something,
you out.
something.
Yeah.
And, you know, and like even my sister's like, I would much rather see her, you know, smoke CBD than just drink all the time. So been trying to slowly transition her into
or even
that.
just like like a weak edible.
Anything.
Like, because smoking, obviously, it's a carcinogen. You don't want to smoke, you know, whatever, especially as you get older.
Yeah.
You know, an edible, just a little gummy just to eat when you get home. And
I'm so impatient. That's the only thing I don't like about edibles. Is it takes
that's-
like an hour to
that's
kick
why I
in.
like them, is because it's the slow ride up and then the slow ride down.
Do you feel the slow ride up part? Because like I'll just be
Kinda.
like, I'll eat one and then all of a sudden I'll be like,
Well,
I'll realize I'm there.
that's happened to me plenty of times too, but like it depends. So if I am thinking about it the whole time, and then when I start to feel the little whatevers, but if I take it and I start watching a TV show, I'll get so into the TV show that when the episode ends, I'll be like, whoa, I'm high as fuck. I forgot that I'm like in it. I'm in it now.
Yeah. Have you ever taken Delta 8?
No.
So
I've thought about it.
I
but-
made the mistake of eating 2 Delta 8 gummies, thinking, oh, it's just Delta 8. I'll be fine. I ate them. I was watching TV or a movie or something. All of a sudden, it just went like
Yeah.
a tunnel vision. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, oh, fuck.
Yep. Now you're in it.
Yeah. And it, like, what do you do at that point? Because typically when you smoke, you eat to come down a little bit. But I'm,
Dude.
I don't know. I don't know
No,
how
see,
to come down.
when I would eat an edible on an empty stomach and whatever, if I ate right after, it's like it would metabolize and digest even faster and kick in so quick
Really?
and hard. Oh yeah,
Wow.
for sure.
It wouldn't like.
It wouldn't dull it at all. If I ate before and then had an
Yeah,
edible,
okay.
it would slow it down and it would mix with
It'd dilute it a little
yeah,
bit.
but it's like it's on the bottom. If I ate it and then ate something, it's on the bottom, so it like triggers my stomach for my pancreas or whatever to release digestive enzymes, and all of a sudden it's like my stomach's in hyperactive mode and it's digesting the food, and it's like I'm high as fuck.
Your stomach's high as fuck.
My stomach is high as fuck.
Yeah, it's like I said, I just don't have the patience for it because, like, I don't know. I
wanna
like
get
the
to the
feeling
moon
I
quick.
get from it. Yeah, I don't know. And lately, CBD joints have been like smoke a full one, and you feel a little something, but you don't get like super burnt out. Or at least for me, I don't get
Yeah.
super burnt out, and it only lasts a half hour, and then by the time it's over, it's like, oh, I can still function. I can do something. Whereas smoking weed, even like one hit of actual weed, I have to have all my stuff done for the day.
Yeah.
No plans on doing anything. Because there's been so many times where I'll get high and then people call me out of the blue, be like, hey, we're doing this tonight. I'm like,
I'm not.
fuck. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
that sounds super fun, but I am not going to be social. I'm not going to really have any fun. So
Right.
thanks. But I'm going to sit here and just be high.
Well, I think one thing when you didn't smoke weed for a year is you started drinking more.
Oh, right away.
Yeah.
I tapered off of that, but there was probably for the first couple months, I want to say at least 4 months, I would come home, take like 2 or 3 shots, and then sip on, I wasn't gluten free at the time, so sipping on some beers or whatever. And yeah, absolutely. I was getting drunk because I was so used to like coming home
Something.
and yeah.
Some way to unwind.
Exactly. Something.
Yeah.
But then it was nice after 6+ months. I started to just be okay with being sober. And I mean, I was still taking mushrooms from time to time. I wasn't sober, but either way,
Yeah.
I wasn't smoking weed every day. And it just like, it was nice.
Yeah.
And I was productive, but I was really high strung all the time.
Yeah.
Like one
Well, think about it though. You've gone years of just
being like,
making your body
whatever, it's
just
fine.
your body and mind just completely docile. Then all of a sudden it kind of wakes up from that state of mind.
From that slumber.
And it's like playing catch up. Like, you
Yeah.
know, now you're opinionated and you're trying to, you know, adjust your mood on its own and get back to homeostasis. And so it's like learning how to
Reverse osmosis.
yeah, photosynthesis, you know?
Yeah, no, it was, dude, it was a real thing. But that was like, you know, I think you were still living here at the time, and so was Ben, and so like something as simple as like being a dish in the sink with a empty dishwasher.
Come on, just clean it up.
And well, right, but it was like
I know what you
it was
mean.
just like
Little things.
Dare they? It's
Yeah.
like, you know, just
The inner Tom Binder came out.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
How dare you put gum in my son's hair?
Yeah.
I know what we'll do to
God.
make the stakes even.
Now, I can't believe he did that. Do you know how crazy that sounds?
I can.
I mean, no, I can.
It was a
'cause
different time, Jake. It was
It's
a different
fair,
time.
though. Like, you do something, there's going to be a consequence.
Hey, that's a lesson you learned early on in life.
Yeah, it's just so funny. What's like one of the darkest moments in your life that you know you feel like you're at rock bottom? I'm sure there's been a few. Everybody has a few, but something that you remember that you had to overcome and grow from, and just
Well, I don't want to talk about that.
Really?
Oh man, you should have given me some time to think. These are all things that like I block out.
Yeah. No, me too.
I mean, it's not like I'm like carrying this with me at the ready.
You don't think about it every day.
Right? I mean, there's been some times where I've done some pretty scummy stuff to either people or women, and it doesn't make me feel good at all. Oh,
What's we'll skip that question.
Okay, thank
What's a trait that you have maybe or had that you are trying to change about yourself?
just be motivated to do stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I've gotten so complacent and so comfortable, especially owning a house. Like, why would I ever leave my house? Well, to experience life, because
Yeah.
otherwise you're just existing. You're just coasting, and that's not living. But like at the same time, like I've always been kind of a lazy person. Like, I see some of our friends. Brandon's a good example. He's surprisingly motivated.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because he's got kids and a wife, but like always on the grind. And like for me, sometimes it's just like I just want to stop and just exist for a day or two.
Yeah.
And so yeah, if I could just like find a way to motivate myself to be more of a go-getter, somebody that, you know, okay, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to complete this project that I've been putting off. Or even, you know, small baby steps, little chunks at a time.
Right.
And it's hard though.
It is. I'm kind of the same way in that, like, I'm totally okay with just sitting around and doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of like dopamine deprivation?
Mm-mm.
So
What's that?
so you know, we're on our phones all day, constantly scrolling,
Mm-hmm.
and it's releasing dopamine.
Dopamine's just an endorphin, right? One of
I
like
think
serotonin.
so. Yeah. So like, we're constantly getting that release in our brains from, you know, matches on Tinder or funny reels
Yep.
or video games or Netflix or whatever. Basically, dopamine deprivation. I'm going to paraphrase because I haven't done too much research into it, but you cut all those out, and it takes a week or something just to, pretty soon little things like petting your dog or going on a walk just brings you like extreme joy.
Life before technology.
Yeah, it brings you back to like enjoying life and wanting, now it's like communicating with people is just uncomfortable and
It is.
It sucks, and you don't get that dopamine rush because you're so used to, this and it knows what you want, and it's always funny, and you can always rely on it to escape reality or even
like
weed or whatever.
Yeah, even if you're like in a uncomfortable situation, you don't feel like being outgoing or whatever, all you have to do is take out your phone. Whether you're actually scrolling or not, you see somebody on your phone, you're typically not going to try and start a conversation with them.
Right.
I mean, it's just a great way to just... But then I've seen pictures, like they compare and contrast like 1930s or 40s of people on the street reading the newspaper compared to people nowadays just on their phone. So it was always there, but I feel like it's become so accessible to just, cut yourself off from everybody else and just be in your own little world, which there's not necessarily anything wrong with, but
Yeah.
everything in moderation.
Yeah, true.
And as far as like the dopamine deprivation, like my cousin Carrie, she doesn't have an Instagram. She hasn't had one forever, and she'll tell you all day long that's like one of the best things she's ever done for her mental health.
Yeah, I mean, I think the difference, like, one thing that's changed for Gene and I, we would put Felix to sleep or lay him down to sleep at night and then immediately go to our bed and just start scrolling on our phones.
And just be sitting there
and think,
next
like,
to each other.
we're spending time together, but, like,
You're
no,
not.
you're not. Like, so now every night, unless we're really tired, but, like, every night we'll put Felix down and we'll go out into the living room and watch a TV show together.
Hey,
And it's been like we set our phones aside and just watch an hour of a TV show,
Yeah.
and it's been like really good because we're both really into it.
Yeah.
The episode ends, we're like, oh my god, I can't believe so and so did that. This next episode's gonna be crazy.
oh my God, I can't believe everybody died at the red wedding.
Yeah. And then we go into the bedroom and get on our phones. But it's like that 1 hour is like
Hey.
very special and
Yeah.
like
It-
really cool.
The way I'm thinking about it, like I wonder if the next generation, like Gen Z, is that after us?
Yeah.
Gen X, Gen Z. Like I'm thinking like a couple of Gen Zs, once they get to like your scenario, they'll be there on their phones in the bedroom, but they're sharing reels back and forth because that's how they're
Dude,
gonna like
Gene and I have both done that.
like sitting next to each
Or
other.
virtual reality. Yeah, no, it's gotten crazy, but after you have a kid,
You can make as many excuses as you want.
yeah, no, seriously though, after you have a kid, you look at your partner as more so like just your parent team.
Co-parent?
You're like a team, so it's like, okay, me and you forget that like you're romantically in love with this person,
Yeah.
and you need to set out time to be together and remember like, hey, I love you, like this is
Let me do something thoughtful for you.
yeah, or just
Like, what's
like
your love language? Let me cater to that for a little bit.
just doing stuff together, dropping Felix off at my mom's or Jean's mom's and going on a date or
Making time for each other.
yeah.
What are your love languages?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
100%.
100%.
It's what there's touch, there's
Physical touch, there's
or
words of affirmation, there's quality time, I think then there's like gifts or whatever, something tangible.
Okay. I would
There's one more. I don't know. We could look it up. Let's look it up.
yeah, you can look it up. Probably
You can say all 5.
yeah, I'm pretty needy. Maybe like words of affirmation.
Okay.
I like touch too. But I don't know. I guess it depends on my mood.
Yeah.
Like if it's been a long day and I'm just tired and
Leave me alone. Acts of
My-
service, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, words of affirmation.
it just depends. I guess it's different every day probably, but I feel the most loved when like when we hug, and I don't know. What about you?
Words of affirmation and
I mean, gifts are great.
yeah, I mean,
But
everyone
I mean,
likes gifts.
Yeah.
Probably physical touch.
Yeah.
Just a little something like something like that.
Yeah. Dude, hand hold, like when Gina and I are going grocery shopping and
Cute.
she
You guys don't, do you?
yeah, she usually does it, but we'll go to like Target and stuff, but I'll be walking, pushing the cart, and she'll like hold onto my arm. I'm like, I love
that's
that.
Yep, 100%.
Or she'll like put her hand in like my pocket and like
Yeah.
her finger on my pocket, and
I mean, I like a little bit of everything, realistically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would probably say words of affirmation and physical touch for me.
yeah, I'd say that's normal. What other juicy topics can we talk about?
Juicy.
Whenever I start the podcast, if it's like with a realtor, I'm always like, so I thought this episode we could start with like your opinion on the COVID vaccine, and what do you think of Joe Biden?
Oh God. And then you don't have to talk for
No,
probably 20
and
minutes.
then I'm like, I'm just kidding, because they realtors and people in business, they want to play the field. They don't want to
they want to steer clear.
corner themselves into yeah. I'm always like, I'm just kidding. I'm just
Oh
kidding.
my God.
Cool. Well, I think we'll end it there. I always ask, my last question is, how do you want to be remembered?
Well, like I was telling you earlier before we started this, YouTube and Vimeo have taken off a lot of our snowboarding things. And a really good friend of mine, a filmer, back when we were really in it, he had said that All these videos that we're making and posting online are going to be there long after we're gone. But unfortunately, a lot of them are being taken down for whatever reason. So that's kind of out, to be perfectly honest. But that's like such a small niche. Realistically, I would just love to be remembered as like, to my friends, as like a quality person that they can, confide in or call if they're ever in a situation that they really need a hand. But it's like, I have a weird thing where I don't like to be feeling like I'm taken advantage of, which happens a lot with the car thing, because people are always like, hey, can you just look at my car really quick? Or
I know we haven't talked in 5 years, but yeah.
And which is fine if you're going to pay me for my service. But like I've had a girl come over and she wanted me to look at her car. And as I'm looking at it, she goes, yeah, I don't usually have to like pay to have my car looked at because, I just flirt with them or dress kind of whatever.
God, that's gross.
As I'm literally looking at her car.
Show me your tits then. I mean.
Right. She had fake tits. Either way. But it was just so out there. It's like you're literally doing this to me right now.
Yeah.
Because then money was never exchanged. And I probably spent over an hour looking. It doesn't matter. But just stuff like that. I just don't want to be taken advantage of. But I want to be remembered just like realistically just by my friends and family. Yeah. That's so important to me.
Just someone you can rely on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you planning on having Keith on your podcast? Will you please?
That would be really funny. I didn't even think of Keith.
Because he listens to so many that I like at first I was like, there's no way Keith would do it. I'm like, well, he does.
Keith's great. He's like one of my podcast. He's one of my favorite human beings.
Yeah, he's just a quality person.
Me and Keith aren't like
as close as Keith and I are.
Probably, yeah. Obviously, you've lived with him, but yeah, no, we're not. I could like chill and talk with Keith, but like he's always been like one of my favorite, because even through all drama, no matter what it was, he always stays neutral. He always has his own opinion. He's not one to take sides. He can see both sides logically.
Yep.
He's not driven by emotion.
Yeah, he's almost too detached from his emotions, especially
seriously
with his wife.
I agree.
They're complete polar opposites. Tanya is so emotionally driven in a good way.
She's sweet. She's the sweetest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Power couple, 2024.
They're the best.
2025, forever.
Cool. Well, I think we'll leave it there. My camera's about to die, but thank you for doing the podcast. This is awesome. And
I hope it's enjoyable to watch.
Oh, for sure. This has been a good one.
Good.
We'll have to do it again in the future. Sure. Maybe a power podcast hour.
Ooh. Foreshadowing.
All right. Bye, you guys. See you next Monday.